What if luxury wasn't about showing off, but about knowing you belong? In Monaco, glamour doesn't shout. It whispers. Every street feels curated, every moment deliberate. Supercars glide instead of race. Style speaks before words do. And the women you notice most are often the ones doing the least to be noticed. This is not a place where wealth tries to impress. It already has. Monaco operates on a different frequency, where beauty, power, and precision blend seamlessly into everyday life. A casual walk can feel like a private event. A simple arrival can quietly command an entire street. Nothing feels accidental here, yet nothing feels forced. In this video, we're stepping into the glamorous side of Monaco, a world shaped by elegance, confidence, and machines engineered to perfection. From subtle supercar moments to unforgettable street appearances, this is the Monaco most people only glimpse for a second, if they're lucky. If you're drawn to refined luxury, elite lifestyles, and the details that separate true class from noise, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Inside the Billionaires. It helps the channel and it keeps you inside this world. And stay with me, because the most captivating moment in Monaco isn't the fastest car or the flashiest look. It's the moment when everything suddenly goes quiet. The first thing people get wrong about Monaco is assuming it tries to impress you. It doesn't. Monaco doesn't chase attention. It expects you to catch up. Here, luxury isn't staged or announced. It exists quietly, woven into the rhythm of everyday life. Supercars roll past cafes like they belong there because they do. Designer outfits don't pause for photos. They move naturally, confidently, as if elegance was simply part of the air. Nothing feels rushed, yet nothing feels casual either. Everything has intention. In Monaco, excess becomes invisible. When everyone around you lives at a high level, showing off loses its purpose. That's why the atmosphere feels different from any other luxury destination in the world. You won't see loud gestures or forced displays. What you notice instead is control over movement, image, timing, and presence. This is what makes Monaco so fascinating. A quiet arrival can feel more powerful than a dramatic entrance elsewhere. A woman stepping out of a supercar doesn't scan the street for reactions. She already knows they're there. The confidence is subtle, almost understated, yet impossible to ignore. It's not about being seen, it's about being recognized. Even the streets reflect this mindset. Clean lines, perfect spacing, no chaos. Monaco feels curated, as if every detail passed through an invisible filter that removed anything unnecessary. And once you sense that order, you begin to understand something important. This place doesn't reward noise, it rewards belonging. For visitors, that realization can be unsettling. For those who live here or move effortlessly through this world, it's liberating. There's no pressure to prove anything. The setting does that for you. And this is only the surface. Because once you start noticing who moves with ease in Monaco and how they command attention without asking for it, you begin to uncover a deeper layer of glamour. One that has nothing to do with price tags and everything to do with presence. And that's where the story truly begins. At first glance, people assume the women of Monaco stand out because of beauty. But look closer and you'll realize beauty is only the entry point. What truly separates these women is how they move through space. There's no hesitation in their steps, no need for validation. They don't scan a room to measure attention. They already understand their position within it. In Monaco, confidence isn't loud, it's efficient. These women aren't trying to become part of the luxury lifestyle, they are already inside it. Their presence feels calm, measured, almost strategic. Every detail, posture, timing, silence, works together. It's not about trends or spotlight moments, it's about belonging to a certain rhythm that outsiders struggle to imitate. And that's the difference most people miss. In Monaco, appearance is refined, but never desperate. Elegance replaces excess. You'll notice fewer logos, fewer exaggerated gestures, fewer attempts to impress. What replaces them is composure. A quiet assurance that doesn't need explanation. The kind that makes people look twice, not because something is flashy, but because something feels out of reach. What's fascinating is how naturally this confidence blends with the environment. Supercars don't overpower them, they complement them. A luxury vehicle becomes an extension of identity rather than a symbol to display. The relationship feels balanced, controlled, intentional, precise. And this is where Monaco quietly reshapes perception. In many places, attention is demanded. Here, attention is granted. The women who stand out most are often the ones doing the least to stand out at all. Their power lies in restraint. Observers might mistake this for detachment. It's not. It's awareness. A deep understanding that presence speaks louder than performance, especially in a city where everyone has access to extraordinary things. But this raises a question that changes everything. If beauty alone isn't what sets these women apart, and wealth alone isn't enough to define them, then what exactly gives them the ability to command a street, a moment, or an entire scene without saying a word? That answer reveals itself the moment engines start turning, doors open, and timing becomes everything. In Monaco, supercars are everywhere, yet somehow they never feel excessive. That's because here, a supercar isn't a spectacle. It's a statement made in silence. These machines don't need to announce themselves. They glide through narrow streets with precision, perfectly in sync with the city's controlled pace. Speed is available, but rarely used. Power exists, but remains restrained. In Monaco, how a car is driven matters far more than what it costs. Each vehicle communicates something subtle. Not just wealth, but taste, discipline, intention. A hypercar parked carelessly feels out of place. A perfectly timed arrival, smooth and unhurried, feels deliberate, almost rehearsed, yet entirely natural. The message isn't, "Look at me," it's, "I know exactly where I belong." What's striking is how supercars interact with their drivers, especially the women who step out of them. There's no hesitation, no moment of adjustment. The car doesn't dominate the scene, it supports it. The doors open, heels touch the pavement, and the energy shifts without a single raised voice or dramatic gesture. In Monaco, ownership alone means little. Familiarity is everything. Anyone can rent performance, but only those who live within this world understand timing, restraint, and presence. That's why the most impactful moments often happen at low speeds, under soft lighting, with barely a sound. The city has seen it all. Loud engines don't impress, reckless displays fade quickly. What lingers instead is control. A calm mastery that turns a simple drive into a memorable moment. A glance from a cafe table, a pause at a crosswalk, a brief silence as a car passes and everyone senses something different. And suddenly, you realize the truth. The most powerful supercar moments in Monaco aren't about horsepower or rarity, they're about how little needs to be said. But here's where things become even more intriguing. Because the car is only half the story. The real impact happens not while it's moving, but in the seconds after it stops. That's when Monaco reveals who truly understands the rules, and who is merely passing through. There is a very specific moment in Monaco when time seems to stretch. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, and yet everyone feels it. An arrival in Monaco is never just about stopping a car, it's about timing. The engine quiets, the street breathes, conversations soften without anyone realizing why. This is the moment when presence takes over, when movement becomes measured and every detail suddenly matters. What makes these arrivals powerful is how little effort they appear to require. No exaggerated gestures, no rushing. The door opens slowly, deliberately. A pause, just long enough. Then a step forward, calm and controlled, as if the entire sequence had already been decided long before the car turned the corner. In other cities, arrivals are meant to shock. In Monaco, they are meant to signal. They communicate awareness, confidence, and familiarity with the environment. The people who do this best never look around to check reactions. They don't need to. Monaco responds automatically. You begin to notice how the city reacts. Heads turn slightly, not abruptly. Phones stay in pockets. The attention is subtle, almost respectful. This isn't curiosity, it's recognition. The kind that happens when something feels perfectly placed. And it's not just about who arrives, it's about how they do it. Footsteps in sync with the setting, clothing that moves naturally, never fighting for attention. A presence that feels aligned with the rhythm of the street rather than imposed on it. These moments are fleeting, often lasting only seconds. But they linger. Long after the car is parked and the figure disappears into a doorway, the atmosphere remains charged. Something has shifted. Quietly, effortlessly. That's the hidden power of Monaco's arrival culture. It transforms ordinary movement into influence without ever asking for approval. But here's what most people don't realize. The arrival is only the opening move, because what happens after, away from the street, beyond the visible moment, is where the real story unfolds. And that's when Monaco stops performing and starts revealing its inner circle. In Monaco, fashion isn't designed to attract attention. It's designed to withstand it. That distinction changes everything. Here, style is quiet, controlled, and intentional. You won't find excessive logos or forced trends competing for space. Instead, you notice balance. Clean silhouettes, neutral tones. Pieces that move naturally with the body rather than demanding focus. In a city where almost everyone can afford luxury, standing out means knowing when not to. This is where Monaco separates refinement from excess. Clothing becomes a language of restraint. A well-fitted jacket, perfectly chosen sunglasses, shoes that suggest comfort without sacrificing elegance. Each detail signals familiarity with high standards. Nothing looks accidental, yet nothing feels calculated. For the women of Monaco, style isn't about transformation, it's about continuity. Their look doesn't change dramatically between day and night. It adapts. Subtle adjustments replace reinvention, a shift in fabric, a change in lighting. The confidence remains constant. What's striking is how naturally this aesthetic aligns with the city itself. Monaco's architecture, streets, and atmosphere all favor clarity over chaos. Fashion follows the same principle. When someone steps into view, their presence feels resolved, not in progress. As if the decision-making happened long ago. This approach creates an unexpected effect. When everything is understated, the smallest detail becomes powerful. A silk dress catching the evening breeze, jewelry that appears only when light hits just right. A calm posture that completes the look without effort. And because excess is absent, authenticity becomes visible. There's nowhere to hide behind spectacle. Style in Monaco reveals awareness of space, timing, and social gravity. But that awareness doesn't stop at appearance. Because once daylight fades and the city transitions into its quieter, more selective rhythm, style becomes something else entirely. It turns into a signal, not for the public eye, but for those who understand what comes next. And that's when Monaco's true atmosphere begins to change. When night falls in Monaco, the city doesn't become louder, it becomes more selective. The energy shifts almost imperceptibly. Lights soften, streets empty just enough. And suddenly, the rhythm changes. Daytime Monaco is open, polished, and observable. Nighttime Monaco is refined, controlled, and discreet. This is when the city belongs less to visitors and more to those who understand its unspoken rules. There are no obvious signs marking the transition, only subtle cues that experienced eyes immediately recognize. Movements slow. Arrivals become more deliberate. Conversations grow quieter, not because they must, but because they can. In Monaco at night, discretion is not enforced. It's expected. Those who remain visible know exactly why they're there and how long they intend to stay. What's fascinating is how confidence expresses itself differently after dark. There's less performance, more precision. The women who command attention now do so with even fewer gestures than before. Their presence feels grounded, almost strategic. Nothing is rushed, nothing feels accidental. This is also when supercars change roles. They stop being visual elements and start becoming transitions. A vehicle arrives, pauses, and departs quickly, its purpose fulfilled. The real moments happen after doors close and footsteps fade into softly lit entrances. Monaco at night rewards familiarity. Knowing when to appear matters more than where. Timing outweighs visibility, and those who misjudge the rhythm simply fade into the background without explanation. For observers, this phase of Monaco can feel elusive. There are fewer obvious moments to capture, fewer scenes to decode. Yet everything feels more charged, more intentional, more real. Because after dark, Monaco stops displaying itself. And that raises a question few ever ask. If the city isn't trying to be seen at night, then who is everything truly happening for? The answer lies beyond the streetlights, where presence becomes influence and access quietly defines everything. In Monaco, the most influential people are rarely the most visible ones. Here, power doesn't announce itself. It settles into the room and waits. This is where many outsiders misread the city. They search for dominance in volume, in spectacle, in obvious displays. But Monaco operates on a different logic. Influence moves quietly through posture, timing, and restraint. The individuals who matter most often speak the least, and yet their presence subtly reshapes the space around them. Among the women of Monaco, this form of power is especially refined. It's expressed through calm control rather than performance. A steady gaze, a measured pause before moving. The ability to command attention without ever asking for it. These signals are understood instantly by those who belong, and often missed entirely by those who don't. What makes this influence so effective is its invisibility. There are no dramatic moments, no obvious turning points. Instead, decisions shift quietly. Interactions adjust. People move differently in response, sometimes without realizing why. Presence does the work before words ever appear. This silent authority extends beyond social settings. It shapes how supercars arrive and leave, how doors open, how time is respected. Everything flows around those who carry this influence, not because they demand it, but because the environment naturally adapts. And that's the true luxury Monaco offers. The ability to exist without explanation, to be recognized without introduction, to influence outcomes without appearing to engage at all. For those observing from the outside, this can feel intangible, even unreal. But within Monaco's inner rhythm, it's perfectly clear who understands the rules and who is still learning them. And just when you think you've understood how influence works here, Monaco introduces its final lesson. Because the greatest power in this city isn't being noticed, it's being unquestioned. And that realization changes how you see every arrival, every movement, and every moment that follows. By the time you reach this point, one truth about Monaco becomes impossible to ignore. This city is not impressed by effort, it responds to alignment. Monaco doesn't reward those who try the hardest. It rewards those who fit naturally into its rhythm. That's why some people arrive with everything, the cars, the clothes, the access, yet still feel out of place. And others, with far fewer visible signals, seem to move through the city as if it were designed for them. The difference is belonging. In Monaco, belonging isn't granted through wealth alone. It comes from understanding pace, discretion, and restraint, knowing when to arrive, when to disappear, and when silence carries more weight than presence. Display is easy. Alignment is rare. This is why the city quietly filters people, not through rules or barriers, but through atmosphere. Those who push too hard eventually fade. Those who listen, adapt, and move with intention remain. Monaco doesn't need to explain itself. It simply waits to see who adjusts. And once you see this pattern, everything changes. Supercars stop being symbols and become tools. Style stops being decoration and becomes language. Beauty stops being an advantage and becomes a responsibility to maintain balance rather than disrupt it. For the women who truly belong here, Monaco is not a stage, it's a setting. They don't perform for the city, they move within it. Their presence feels stable, not temporary. Familiar, not forced. And that is the final layer of Monaco's glamour. Not the shine, not the speed, not even the beauty, but the quiet certainty of knowing you are exactly where you're meant to be, in a place that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. And once you understand that, you realize Monaco was never showing off. It was simply watching to see who understood. Monaco is often described as a playground of luxury, beauty, and speed. But as you've seen, its true power lies somewhere deeper, in restraint, rhythm, and quiet confidence. The glamour of Monaco isn't created by what's shown, but by what's understood. It's a place where elegance replaces noise and where presence speaks long before words ever do. The women, the supercars, the perfectly timed moments, none of them exist to impress the world. They exist because they belong. And that sense of belonging is what makes Monaco so fascinating to watch, yet so difficult to enter. Here, luxury doesn't ask for attention. It assumes it. Perhaps that's why Monaco continues to captivate us. Not because it shows everything, but because it reveals just enough. Every arrival, every quiet glance, every controlled movement invites us to look closer and question what true sophistication really means. If this glimpse into Monaco's glamorous side gave you a new perspective, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Inside the Billionaires. More exclusive stories, refined lifestyles, and hidden worlds are waiting for you. And remember, in Monaco, the most powerful statement is never made out loud. It's felt.